I'm just gonna go for it. Connect 4. And we're back with a little Chrono Trigger, The Frontier by Jared Hudson. And other music as seen below in this area that's hard for me to... There, in this... Oh, there we go. That area. Anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna get going with this again. Alright, so, what I decided is to do a little bit more connection tracking in this connection stuff. So what we will do is we'll have a last read and a last write, which again, I don't think that we actually need. Let's see, if this TLS Conn, new TLS Conn, we don't actually need these to be pointers, because we're only going to use this itself as a pointer. So we don't need to make those pointers, because then we're just having a nonsensical dereference. Likewise, let's see, do we need... This has to be a pointer because reasons, but these don't have to be pointers. So we can get rid of all of the new around this, because we're not going to access them via copy. Is a type not an expression? There we go. There we go. Okay, so now all of that should work, but then we probably need to go do something somewhere. Let's see, bytes red. Yeah, okay, that should all be fine. All right, and then this one also, because we're only going to use this as well in that way, and then we should be good there. So we don't need this. All right, and I need to answer my wife, BRB. Okay, and we're back. Right, so I don't need these to be pointers. I was using them as pointers before because I think before I wasn't using this as a pointer. But now that's all good. But then we should have the last bytes. Where did this go? Last read, last write. We can have that. And we can have that here. Yeah. But then same thing here. That needs to be an invocation, not a type. All right. And then what we're going to need to do is also use sync.onceFunc, or sync.onceDo. Suppose they're just two different ways of doing the same thing. Bah, we hate those. But sometimes those do come about. It does unfortunately happen to the best of us and the rest of us. Okay, so if we have a read error, we're going to have a once. And then if we have a read error, then we will do once.do hd.wg.done. So then we need a wait group. This is getting hairy. And I don't know. This, it seems like this should be able to be done a better way. But I don't know. I mean, I guess, hold on. If I'm doing all these, then I don't need to do anything to instantiate them because they just get instantiated. So all of this is unnecessary. That's good news. Yeah, that's all we need to initialize this. Let's just move this up here. Actually, I really don't like that. And you know, I also don't really want this to have to be a 32-bit. I mean, a 64-bit. I'm fine with that being a 32-bit. And not being Unix millis, but instead just being seconds. I think that's fine. I mean, I could leave it, but I'll just leave it for now. We can make that optimization later. Okay. So all of that looks about right now. So what we're doing is we are changing this so that we have a little bit more data and that we know when a connection is finished. So I'm going to use this wait group here. So we use the once, yeah. There we go. So we do this. Actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I can just pass this. I'm not sure if that will work or not. Looks like it'll work. All right. And then I need to do the same thing on close. Yeah, it's kind of a lot of data, but we'll see. We'll see. Time.now.unix millis. It's not just single milli, is it? Unix milli. Okay. Unix milli, not Unix millis. Blech. Okay. Fine. 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 All right, we'll do it that way. I don't think I actually want the overhead of this, but we're gonna put it in there for now. All right, and then we're gonna have this close. Oh, right. Okay, this is not quite gonna work the way that I wanted. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to remember. What was I going to do here? TLS hello Conn. All right, that's what we're doing. So we're saying if it's closed, or if we have a read error, which I think technically, let's see. All right, what was this griping about? All right, let's try it this way then. What does it say? Interesting. I will go look this up. Okay, we will just do it the simple way, which is that if there's an error, this is done. We're not considering the case where we would recover from a timeout. We will have to reconsider that later if we do. Okay. Okay. So pass through. Oh wait, that's not what I wanted. Okay. So in any case that we have an error in the connection, we're going to stop the wait group. Okay. I'm going to change the name of CopyCon to Tunnel TCPCon. I'm going to change the name of tunnel to HTTP tunnel. That's not necessarily what it is, though. But that's what it is in this particular case. So, doing that. Okay, but we need to hc.wg.wait here. And I'm going to rename CopyCon to Tunnel TCPCon. Alrighty, this looks better. And we don't actually need the last read or the last write down at the TLS layer, because we would never use that. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. I am interested, and we don't really need to connect it either. Yeah. Okay. How's it going, by the way? Hello. All right. And calling this a HelloCon is kind of dumb. So I'm just going to replace all instances of hello Conn with wrapped Conn, because it was originally intended just to be for a hello, but that's not what it is now. So with that, each instance of HC could probably just be replaced with C. Maybe, depending on what type of connection we're dealing with here. All right, there we go. Now that's a little easier to understand. Yeah, because originally the purpose of the connection was just going to be able to peek the hello and then just pass it straight through. But then, well, there's more information that I want about the connections. So there we are. All right, so now let's look at the API side of this. Plain read, plain written. Last read, last written. And then also here, there we go. Oh, nope, this is the wrong one. All right, now we should be able to go back and then get the defer back in here. Because now we have that wait in place. All right, now we need, for wrapped Conn, we also need to implement there we go. All right, cool. I kind of want to rename that TLS Con to Plain Con because effectively that's what it is. So new Plain Con? Sure. Or maybe instead of Plain Con, we could say Terminated Con. That's kind of a mouthful, but essentially what that is. What's up, little girl? Well, why don't you make them?
No, scrambled eggs.
Why don't you make them?
When I make scrambled eggs, I need a grown-up to watch me cook.
Do you think you can make them by yourself?
Yes.
How many times have you made scrambled eggs now?
3?
3 times?
Yeah, I made one today.
All right.
Ada wanted eggs. Ada says he likes my eggs more than oatmeal.
Really? Okay, well, how about this? Why don't you make them? And if there's any problem, come let me know. And I'll set a timer to check on you in about 10 minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right? Set a timer for 10 minutes. Can the kids burn the house down in 10 minutes? Probably not. All right, so I think these things are named a little bit better now. It is a little bit confusing because TLS.connection is a connection that has been made plain. It's terminated, so yeah. All right, now let's go take a look here. Probably some updates I need to make here as well. All right. Kind of surprised that there's any connections there. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do curl. And this is going to be TLS router admin duckdns.org /API/connections to JQ. Oh, I think 4433 is what we're at. And then because we're using the staging certificate, there we go. Now that is quite interesting. How could this be? How could we not have any connections? There must be, I must have reintroduced a bug. Oh, wait, what have we done here? Negative weight group counter. Looks like a couple of things have happened. One being that I forgot to add to the counter. So that weight never executed. So, okay. All right, so we're going to wait for 1. Because I would expect that when we go to get connections here, that the connection that's getting connections counts as a connection. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay. And you know what else I want to do here? I want to transform this into a timestamp. But maybe not so many milliseconds. That might be what we have to go with for the moment. So I'm pretty sure let's see, connect it sense is time.time. There we go. Oh, Grok, where are you? I have a tedious task for you to do for me. Alrighty. That might not be quite right. Hold on. Actually, there we go. Okay, that looks right. Actually, I don't care so much about it being UTC. In fact, I'd rather it not be. Can we truncate milliseconds from the output? There we go. That's what I wanted. But actually, I do want the offset. What about just 2 milliseconds? Or 3-digit milliseconds. And the parse should be able to handle either format. I think that that's the normal behavior. I don't think you have to do this. I think that the standard behavior is to allow either. Okay, I'm going to go check on my daughter and make sure that she didn't burn the house down. So let me go do that. Where was this one? Time.format. Whoop. Where do we go here? This one. Okay, let me test this, and then I'm going to go check on my daughter. All right, so here we go. It does look weird without those extra zeros, huh? I think I'm going to put them back in. Okay. Let me just check that, and then I'll be done here. Cool. All right, that's neat. So now, if I go over here, and I refresh my hello, and I go over here, and I refresh my uptime, and I go over here, and I refresh the list, then what I should see... Oh, interesting. Oh. Oh. Okay, that's because the Python is using connection close. So if we look at the Python bit here, I believe that this is doing connection close. It's not keeping the connection open, which makes sense because it's Python. Okay. All right, so there might be something I want to do to catch information about such short-lived connections or store the information. So when we go to delete it, I think I just want to store it somewhere else as the basically as the result. Cool. So then another thing I want to be able to do is I want to be able to kill this connection. Make it stop. Okay, I will be right back. I'm just going to put up the... and I'm just going to put that up for now. I'll be right back. All right. And we're back. A little bit more shell in the egg than preferable, where any shell at all in the egg is more than preferable. But she didn't burn the house down, so that's a win. All right. So the next endpoint I want to implement is delete to close a connection. So let's do that. All right, let's see. I need to look at the HTTP module. Go net. Let's do it over here. All right, go net HTTP, and then serve mux. Well, really, what I'm concerned with is patterns. Documentation for serve mux explains patterns. Hmm. I am interested in this actually, because I think that %2f should behave differently than slash. What was the resolution? Oh, it's crazy that it was that recent. Okay. (122). Each segment of the path is unescaped. Okay, I think that's correct. Okay, but how do I use this? That's the question. because that's the part that I never remember. Okay. Path's going to include. Okay, path value. There we go. R dot path value. Got it. Okay. All right, so now we have a closed connection implemented. And I also want to close backend. Hmm. All right, so this is going to have. Because one of the things that I have had to do with one of the free services we run is restart the service because of a bad actor. And I don't want to have to restart the service to disconnect existing connections. I want to be able to just kill them. So everything that's connected to the bad actor, I want to be able to, well, yeah, to disable. Bless me. little CNC bots. You know what? Maybe I'll just do it like this. Hmm. Wait, TLS state? How did I get that? Okay, like that. Okay, okay, okay. Actually, what I would like for this is to be able to let's make a little helper function here. That's gonna be new pecan. No. wcon to pecan. Wrap connection, pecan, and we're going to take all of this and we're going to get pecan is wcon to pecan. wcon. wcon. Boom. All right, cool. So we got that. And then anything that matches, we're going to have our list. Well, this one, it's going to be, I guess what we could have it do, and I'd actually like this, if we would take, either approach. We say we can take the remote adder I think this is just adder. I'm going to go check out what this is real quick. Okay, let's go look at net. Remote adder. Returns an address. And address has network. So really? All right, well that's fine. We can call that host. Maybe call it host port. Okay. All right, that looks about right. I wonder, do we have something designating which backend it's connected to? Because that would also be interesting to be able to. No, we just have server name. So I would like to be able to specify backend as well, but that doesn't really matter that much right now. But this is good. So let me go ahead and try this. Oh, whoops. Whoopsie. So what did I say this was? Remote adder? No. Close connections. Okay, I'm doing too many things at once now. So I got list connections, close connections. And then any of them that we close. So we're actually not going to return false. So, okay, wait. There we go. I like that just fine. And then we're going to do similar here. Where if it is the exact match, then we will stop it. Oh, that reset service. Yeah. So I'm calling this close clients because they are connected to a specific service, calling this close remotes because they are associated with a specific IP. I definitely could go back on that later. That is just for testing this out right now. All right, so okay, so let's try this out. That'll do nothing. This will do nothing. I mean, no, that won't do nothing. That will show some stuff. Okay. So now let's take a look at this and see. Interesting. Interesting to see the source port changing or not. Oh. Oh, interesting. And then that changed again. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to do delete, and then we're going to do remotes, and we're going to do that right there. Invalid literal. Oh, remotesal. There we go. Boom. So that's the one that I got rid of. And then that's the one that it's got. I would actually like to do one other thing here. I would like to be able to distinguish the current connection. What should we call that? That's so weird. I wonder at what moment. Well, no, I know at what moment it was this. Okay. Interesting. It's just interesting to watch. Okay, so what do we do from here? From here, I want to change this. Do 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 do. All right. So we list this. Let's find a way to mark the remotes. Okay, how do we get the, would it be Conn, r.conn? Or would we need to use the reader? Remote adder. Okay. So I need somehow to set Oh, they're not set it as a bool? All right, cool. So let's try this again. All right, self is true. So let's get another connection. We'll go back here. And then we will see. This should. That's interesting. Okay, what caused it to shift position to the top? I don't know. But that is pretty cool. Now, if only I could get the Python server to have a huge, ginormous file for something to be able to download. It looks like temp blah. Okay, what's do I have like a giant movie I can put in here? Let's see if I can get a giant file there. Let's see, movies. Nope. Videos. So we can get this in a list. Sorted by size. 2.7 gigabytes. That one looks good. Do I have anything bigger? Ooh. Okay. So I'm going into /temp/blah. I'm just going to paste here a huge movie. I'm going to rename it to hello.mp4. And then we're going to load it here. Hello.mp4. I'm going to make sure. Oh, okay, good. This doesn't have audio anyway. Okay, so now we should see 3 connections. Yay! All right. Cool. And I should be able to select this one. Let's see. Oh, you know what? You know what we don't want to do when we're killing connections? Hold on. All right, so we don't want to close the self until after. There we go. Cool. So this way, we can close all of those connections, including the connection to self. Alrighty. I like it. I like it. Okay. All right, let's see if our video is still going. It is still going. All right, so we've got only one connection right now? That doesn't make sense. Or maybe it kind of does, because that other one's going to have to read quite a bit of content before it actually gets to the point where it needs to refresh. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So we've got this. So let's say we want to close all of the connections to, so we're going to do dash X delete. And we want, hey, what's up, MD? So we're going to close not just remotes, but we're going to close clients of this. Oh, that didn't work. I remember the times when I had a hard time compiling OpenSSL from source. Yes, let's not do that. Compiling OpenSSL from sources is not fun for anyone. Nobody wanted to do that. Okay, so I'm a little confused here. Okay, we can see these connections. What do I make of this? So obviously, this is not working. Well, let's see, why is it not working? There's probably a really good reason. I'm probably using the wrong delimiter. So let's look at close clients. I will read and respond to that in just a moment. Let's see. So close clients. SNI LPN. Server name. SNI. Okay, so I'm not sure why this didn't work. The other one's working just fine. SNI LPN. SNI ALPN. WCon. I'm just going to print this out. SNI LPN. All right, here's the query. All right, so let's go ahead and kill this. All right, so and on top of that, I tried to do libcurl integration. Yeah, nobody wants to do that. What is TLS routing? I'm not a networking expert. Is it something related to SSL TLS? Yes. Yes, that's precisely what it is. So basically a reverse proxy, but using TLS rather than HTTP. So doing the proxying, the reverse proxying, the application routing at the TLS layer rather than the HTTP layer, which allows us to route other protocols than HTTP, including, for example, Windows file sharing, Samba, or Postgres, or anything that uses TLS, which is most protocols nowadays. Well, most modern protocols, and a lot of the older protocols are being updated. How do you route domains using TLS? Just like we do with the host header? Yeah. So TLS has server name indication, SNI, as well as application application layer protocol negotiation, which is basically like what port you want to use. You know, is this going to be HTTPS? Or is it going to, sorry, is it going to be HTTP/1.1, H2, H3, PostgreSQL, SMB, and so on? You know, it's fast. Sure, anything is going to be fast. All right, so let's see what we got here. TLS router admin. All right, so the query did not come through. I am probably using the wrong query name. So let's go take a look at that, because that's probably our problem right there. So what did I do? I called this that. What do I call it over here? SNILP. All right, so I did all caps over here. I kind of want to call it service. We're going to call it service. That's what we're going to do. Okay, now we're going to recompile it, and it's going to work out just fine. Boop, boop. I need to have it shut down faster, better, stronger. Okay, so we take a look at connections. These are the two connections. This one is curl itself. And then this one is our connection in the web browser. And if I wanted to, I could open this up in a different web browser, which I will, so that we've got it over there as well. So now if I curl this, we're going to see all three. And then if that video starts buffering again, then we'll see 4. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that. So we'll just start that video over again. So now the video will be buffering. So now we should see 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I want to do is I want to close all of the connections that are headed to that domain. So I'm going to go back and delete, and this should return. Oh no! Ooh. I know how that happened. I know what happened there. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to have a go routine that has a small wait. Because what's going to happen here is that write may not happen immediately. It may get buffered. Okay, let's see. Could we could just try it with the go routine and see what happens. Let's just see what happens. This is not going to be reliable, but I want to see what happens. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Okay, so I'm not surprised there. So what we need to do is add a time dot sleep, and we need to give it, let's say, 1 time dot millisecond. And that should be sufficient in both cases. That's not a guarantee, but that should be enough. I wonder if there's a better way to handle this. One millisecond's kind of a long time, so you know that should be good enough. All right, so let me check back here. All right, so all right, so I'm going to refresh a few things. Refresh this browser. Refresh this browser. Refresh this browser. Refresh this browser. Although that one doesn't count. All right. So if we look at connections, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. How's that possible? I don't know how that's possible that we only have 3 connections. Because we've got this one, and we've got that one, and we should have both of the other browsers here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that makes more sense. Anyway, now we'll go ahead and we will kill these connections. Error in the HTTP2 framing layer. You know, let me just check and see if we've got an error popping out over here. I don't think we do. No. Okay. All right. Let's put that sleep for 10 milliseconds. That should not be a thing. What else could be wrong here? Well, we're not supposed to access the reader or the writer if pcon self. Wait, where? I think I've done something wrong. What am I doing wrong? Let's go back here. Self. Okay. Ah, yes, 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 yes. I see, I see, I see. So it wasn't even what I thought it was. So it should be this. Oh, I'm gonna have to go in for dinner here soon. Okay, dinner time is soon. All right, so what was I gonna do? All right, so we need to do the same thing on this next one. Then we probably don't need the time dot sleep. It would be interesting to see if we even need this. I would imagine that we might need it in a GoFunk because this is not necessarily going to execute right away. But let's go ahead and do that. Okay, there we go. So we got that if there. if it's an exact match, we don't want to continue, and then we can, okay, do that after the fact. Great. Okay, so let's try this again. I think it'll work, but I think we should put the go func there with a timeout of some sort, just in case. All right, so I'm going to go refresh this one. So now that one definitely has something in it. This one now definitely has something. Oh, interesting. So this, if we're not looking at it, is it not running? What's going on here? Interesting. Okay. So let's list connections. We see a bunch of connections. Great. Let's delete all the connections that are to the admin. Framing layer. Again. All right. So now we're back to F. All right, let's go back to where we know that it's really, really likely to work. So put that in there. Whoops, there we go. And then let's put that here. And then let's run it again. Okay, good. So this is definitely working. And then I want to see if it's going to work even without the timeout, which I think without the timeout, we're going to have a race condition. So I think it's good to put in a timeout. I think 10 milliseconds is quite a bit much, but I don't know. Maybe it could be useful, but let's see. All right, so without any wait, it's no go. Let's put 1 millisecond. I think that should be way more than it needs, but let's just try it out and see what happens. All right, so the only connection it killed was itself. All right, cool. So then if we add this connection, run it again, then it's got 2 connections killed. We can add this connection here. Let me just move this over. Just gonna let it keep going, just so it keeps that connection open. All right, so now when we look at connections, we see 2 of them. Now it'll be 3 of them. Now it will be 4 of them. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4 different connections. And then if I kill all of them that match, it kills all of those. And then if I kill this one, I imagine it'll come right back. All right, so that shouldn't have been any problem. And then if we look at connections again, that other one's going to pop up here sooner or later. Oh, there it is. Now it's back. Okay, so now we got to wonder, what do we mean by read and written? It means the server has read this from the client and has written this to the client. Okay. I was looking at those wrong earlier. Cool. All right. Well, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and... Oh no, broken pipe. Did I do that? All right, so generally speaking, we're not going to be killing connections to the admin interface, but in case we were, there we are. So this is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy about this. Bumpity bumpity. Hey newbie. I am just signing off. I've got dinner. So I think I'll be back on later. We'll see. I still want to work on this. I need to add authentication to it. Well, first of all, I need to add to add the ability to update config. I need to be able to add and remove from a list of backends. Yeah, I need to be able to update the config. So that's what's next. Oh, what'd be so cool is to pause connections. Ooh, that would be so interesting. Or to rate limit connections. Just like, you get the slowdown. Wow. Ooh. Ooh. Hmm. Oh, there's a rate limiter package. Interesting. Hmm. Is it not concurrency safe? Interesting. Anyway, I gotta go. So have a good one. Catch you later. Adios. Let me actually. Let me just do this first. All right, and I'm out. I will catch you later if I catch you later, Sobom.